Hi, my name is Anthony Parce and I played the viola in the Nashville Symphony. I would say I got my first starts in music from my family. My dad's an opera singer, so I grew up around opera. My first time on stage, my dad was singing Figaro, and he was singing the Largo fatatum della città largo, the big famous aria. And the whole point is he's waking up the audience. He's waking up the whole city of Seville. And I come out at the end of the aria, della città. Then I come out in a nightgown and a stocking cap and I hit him with a pillow. And I think I was like 3 or 4, and I was very proud of that role. My favorite contemporary song influenced by classical music, that's kind of a tricky one, but I will say one time I was teaching Beethoven's Fifth Symphony to a bunch of kids, 5th graders, I think. And I was trying to talk to them about this cool concept of developing variation, thematic developing variation. So the basic idea is we've got, and that happens, that's your stamp. And then you stamp it again, and then you stamp it again, again, and again. Right? So this stamp keeps happening, and how cool that he was able to write a whole symphony out of basically just using this little stamp that he put in. And I thought that was so clever, and the kids are like, it's kind of working for me. And then a song that I was playing on the radio that morning came on, and I'm like, wait, do you guys know this one? And all these kids are like, is that Luis Fonsi? I'm like, yeah, that's Luis Fonsi, but check it out. You've got... And they're like, wait, it's that stamp thing. It keeps happening over and over. I'm like, Luis Fonsi was a big fan of developing thematic variation. And they're like, oh, cool, that's really sweet. And ever since that, I've been like really hooked on Despacito. It's just a good tune. I think connecting with audiences in performance actually is something that it's really important to me, and it's something that starts well before the performance. So my favorite thing to do in regards to symphony playing is work in the community. I love education work, I love social services and hospitals. I've done a ton of it in my life. It's something that I'm super passionate about. And it's the time when I get to, kind of share what we talked about earlier, or demonstrate something that I was working with kids, or even just model after this feeling of connection that already kind of exists in the community. So when I'm playing as if, this is a relationship, this is a conversation that we're having. I hate the idea of a fourth wall. So I like to play as if, we're already kind of have this connection and we're just kind of furthering the conversation. If my instrument had a personality, it would be cranky. It's a viola. It's an imperfect instrument, and I feel like every day is what's going to not quite work for it. So I feel like I'm always kind of coaxing it in different ways and hoping that it comes through for me. I've got a weird instrument, for violas as they go. So you might be surprised that most violas are symmetrical, and it's actually pretty much every string instrument is going to be pretty much symmetrical. And this unique one was created in the 70s by this guy Otto Erdős for his wife, who was a smaller woman with smaller hands. And we basically want the biggest violas that we can have. The bigger they are, the louder they are, and violas tend to be a pretty soft-spoken instrument. So I've got this cutaway viola, and it's kind of modeled after the idea of a piano. You've got less resonating wood for a piano for the high strings as you do for the low strings. And so by doing that, you're able to crank down a lot more tension on the A string side, and it still sounds like a viola. But it makes it a lot easier for me to play higher and more awkward passages since I'm not a huge person. I know some people have like really intense pre-concert rituals where they like do this or that. Mine is chaos. It's very important before a concert to be trying to cram in as much other details from my day or my life as possible. I know that sounds ridiculous, but actually I used to have terrible anxiety when I played my instrument. And a big part of me getting past that was developing the ability in myself that every moment I'm playing, every moment I'm ready, right? There's just kind of this idea of I can pull out my instrument in front of a bunch of kids at 7 o'clock in the morning and this is showtime, right? So I don't like to think of warming up or warming down. I kind of stay warmed up my whole life, So there's no difference for me of how I sound in a rehearsal or how I sound in the practice room or on stage. It's go time for me, so.